And with that, we say welcome to the Final Putt presented by Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. I'm Hakeem Dermish here on CBS Sports HQ with you. Post-round of the 3M Open where Michael Thompson wins the tournament, his first in 166 starts. You got to feel pretty darn good for Michael Thompson. He won the Honda Classic in March of 2013 and now wins the 3 Open this weekend in Minnesota. He had to fight off the field, a hard-charging field on Sunday. Robbie Shelton and Adam Long putting together a 7 under 64 for each of them on Sunday. Michael Thompson steady with a 4 under in his final round to close it out at 19 under par, winning by 2 shots. But man, what a feel-good story for a guy like Michael Thompson, who hadn't won since 2013, and he wins the 3 Open this weekend in Minnesota. Welcome in 2 of the 4 voices that make up the First Cut podcast. CBS Sports golf analyst Kyle Porter, Sportsline data scientist Rick Gehman. And Kyle, I'll tell you what, I was rooting for Michael Thompson today because just of the story, you win a tournament 7 years ago, and these guys work so hard to get back to the top of the leaderboard to win an event, and you got to feel so good for a guy like Michael Thompson who prevails in the end on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about this as he kind of closed up his round. You juxtapose it with Jon Rahm becoming the #1 player in the world last week when he wins the Memorial, with what Thompson did this week. And probably in a lot of ways, it's more meaningful to somebody like Thompson to win the 3M Open, even though it's not a great field, it's not the biggest event in the world, than it is for somebody like Rahm to become #1 in the world. That seemed inevitable. This is certainly not inevitable in somebody like Michael Thompson's career. So I was impressed. You know, there were times where it got a little, it could have gone sideways for him. The bunker shot he hit on 16 was sick. I mean, that was an unbelievable shot in those circumstances with water beyond the pin on 16. And he just closed it down. I mean, the show that he put on down the stretch at TPC Twin Cities was really impressive, and it was cool to see how meaningful it was to him to get that win. You're right, Hakeem. These guys put in a ton of work. We don't ever talk about a guy like Michael Thompson, yet he's unbelievable at golf, and it's cool to see that again in a field where there aren't as many stars and superstars kind of swooping in and maybe stealing a victory there.
Michael Thompson was absolutely cold-blooded coming down the stretch on Sunday. That bunker shot on 16 that Kyle referenced is like the hardest shot for any golfer, a long bunker shot. You've got water in your sight line. You're playing in the biggest moment in your career in at least the last 7 years, and you hit it to like 2 feet and tap it in for birdie, which essentially seals the tournament for you. And it goes back to Saturday's round as well. He had a 4-shot lead in the 3M Open at one point before the wheels kind of got a little loose, and most other situations we would have seen, or a lot of other times on tour, those guys just would have rolled over and given up and taken their top 10, but not Michael Thompson. And the emotion that he showed on the 18th green after victory, this is what we've been talking about all day. As this leaderboard was shaping up, we were saying the storyline is that someone's life is going to change, someone's career is going to change. And when you get a grown man off the 18th tee, a professional, a guy who's been on the tour for as long as Michael Thompson has, on the verge of tears, telling you how meaningful this is to him, it's incredible stuff.
Yeah, it's why we love sports. It's why we root for the underdog. Michael Thompson is certainly a long shot. He's going to get an invite to the PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Masters. 7 years between victories. And Kyle, I want to even take you back to yesterday, as we talked about, when we saw him save par on 18, hits it into the water, and then he's able to save par out of the sand, and he gives him a little fist pump. And at that point, I was like, all right, Michael Thompson might be this guy to win this tournament. There were flashes we saw rounds 1 through 4 that he wasn't going to go away. I asked you after round 1, after round 2, does he have staying power? You said yes. What did you see in Michael Thompson? He was able to close it out.
Well, he struck the ball really well all week. I got a little leery on Sunday just because the strokes gained from tee to green were kind of disintegrating as the week wore on. But when I look at can you keep a week together, he was putting it really well, and he's a good putter. That's kind of been his strength more or less over the last 5, 6, 7 years throughout his career, really. But the way he was striking the ball, even though he doesn't normally strike it like that, you kind of start to think, okay, well, maybe this is just his week from tee to green, and it was. And we saw that again down the stretch. It wasn't just the shot on 16 out of the bunker. It was the tee shot on 17, where he hits it to 15 feet, has another look at birdie. It was making birdie on 18. After, I mean, he hit the drive he hit on 18. He hits this little cut off the tee there, and it was like, it looked like he was playing on a Thursday morning, you know, at 10 in the morning, not as the final group on a Sunday with a chance to win the tournament. So I was just really impressed by how he kind of kept those emotions under check, or in check, under control, and was able to control his golf swing throughout. That was the part that I didn't really know. You thought that probably he could, because he'd done it before. He won, obviously in 2013, the Honda Classic over Jeff Ogilvy, but it's always in question when you haven't done it in 5, 6, 7 years. So again, incredible performance, and the tee to green stuff really stood out to me this week from Michael Thompson.
It's rare to get that fist pump on 18 on a Saturday on the PGA Tour, but Michael Thompson absolutely engaged on the weekend. And I'd actually like to make the case that him blowing essentially his 4-shot lead on Saturday and ending up in a tie, a co-lead after 54 holes, was probably a benefit. I mean, think about this. You're a guy who has not won on the PGA Tour in 7 years. Going to sleep on a 54-hole lead is hard enough. We've seen 2 3-shot leads evaporate in an instant on the PGA Tour this season. You don't need that extra pressure. So he shows up on Sunday. He's able to say, oh, I'm a co-leader with Richy Werenski. Tony Finau's breathing down our necks. Like, I'm not really expected to win this, am I? And it's kind of a free, comfortable pairing, a free, comfortable round for him to play on Sunday, where he can just go out and do his thing.
Yeah, you take a look at Michael Thompson and the fact that he outduels everyone on the final day where it really mattered, because, I mean, he had some company. He had a guy like Adam Long and Robbie Shelton chasing him down, Kyle. This was kind of a dramatic finish when you consider all of the guys in the chase pack trying to get to the top of the leaderboard on Sunday.
Yeah, and especially so at a course like this, where, you know, if you're Michael Thompson going into the final round, you know, hey, 61 could be in play, 62 could be in play, 63 is almost definitely in play, because we've seen it the last couple of days. And so in some ways it probably helps, because you can't go out there, you're not trying to defend, you're not trying to protect anything. You're just trying to go hit golf shots, and I think that's what we saw from Thompson. So that could have helped him in some ways, but easy for me to say when I don't have guys behind me shooting, you know, 63, 64, trying to jump up there and take over the lead. I thought Adam Long's performance was unbelievable. He goes 16 under over his last 38 holes of the golf tournament. He was outside the cut line after 33 holes on Friday, and he goes again 16 under. Over those last 38 to almost get into a playoff with Thompson for what would have been the second win of his career as well. So for over the last 2 days anyway, Long was the most impressive guy, but overall it was more impressive that Thompson was able to hold off kind of that chase pack, like you said.
Yeah, TPC Twin Cities kind of creates a lot of opportunities coming down the stretch. It really is a true risk-reward course. That drivable par 4 16th, the par 3 17th with a front pin location on Sunday, and then, of course, the par 5 18th, where you can get after it in 2 if necessary. It creates an opportunity for that chase pack, which formed throughout the day. It got like 8 deep at one point, all trying to take advantage of those last couple of holes. And Michael Thompson not only has to dodge bullets from everybody else in the field, but he knows he's got to make birdies. You can't make pars and win at the 3M Open at TPC Twin Cities. So the birdie on 16 frees him up, allows him to hit a really great shot into 17, and then he doesn't have to go in 2 on 18. He can lay up to his favorite number. He can hit one last full shot into 18 and then have 2 putts to win it. And of course, he didn't need both of those. He buries it and gets to celebrate with no fans, but I'm sure he doesn't care about that at the moment.
Yeah, we would have been equally as happy for a guy like Richy Werenski, who was looking for his first PGA Tour win in his 99th PGA Tour start. Unfortunately, 3 bogeys in his round, has to settle for a 1 under. Kyle, what went wrong for Richy in the final round?
Well, the wheels came off with his swing, and we kind of talked about this a little bit on Saturday. I felt like either Thompson or Werenski were kind of just hanging on a little bit with their games from tee to green. Werenski only hit 8 fairways on Saturday. I didn't double check how many he hit on Sunday, but his swing looked really fast, and we saw him hit it in the water a couple times. He found the water on 16, the drivable par 4, did end up bounce it back to make par there. He found the water on 6, the par 5, made par there as well. So, I mean, he was just kind of fighting against himself all day. And at a course, again, where, that's fine if you're doing that at Muirfield Village at a major championship. You're fighting for par. You're fighting to shoot 1 under, 2 under. You can't do that at TPC Twin Cities with all the different guys that are, again, going low, 64, 65, 66. You're not going to be able to make enough putts to make up that ground that you're losing from tee to green. So it ended up being Werenski whose swing failed him on Sunday, not Thompson, like I sort of insinuated on Saturday. But yeah, it was a disappointing final round from Richy Werenski.
It certainly was. And this is the other side of the coin. When you have a lot of guys in contention that have rarely been in contention, or, I mean, combined, they don't have a lot of wins on the PGA Tour, you see both sides of it. You see guys that can take that and say, okay, well, I'm going to play free and easy. Nobody expects me to do this. Or you feel, I mean, the pressure was almost palpable. It was almost visible on Richy Werenski today. That swing looked completely different than what we saw the first couple of days. He just couldn't seem to get out of his way. 8 fairways that Kyle referenced on Saturday that he hit. He only hit 9 on Sunday. That is not the recipe for success. But what we have seen from younger players, now Richy Werenski is going to be getting to his 100th start here shortly on the PGA Tour, is sometimes you have to have failures like this. You have to have a taste of what a contention on Sunday, what that tastes like before you can kind of break through the wall a little bit. So interesting to see how Richy Werenski actually responds from this moving forward now that he's been in this position.
Tony Finau also finishing in that group at 16 under par. He was looking to win his first event since 2016, that Puerto Rico Open. And unfortunately, Rick, the curse continues for Tony Finau as he was trying to win this event and just doesn't get enough going. Just a 3 under in the final round. He was looking to break through. Unfortunately, he doesn't. But what did you take away from Tony Finau this week, Rick? Made the change with his caddy, and now going forward, he's going to have to work in terms of how that relationship goes, and of course trying to get back on top once again.
Yeah, now 1,005 total events from Puerto Rico Open winners who have not won another PGA Tour event. It's a fun thing we talk about, but it's not fun. Tony Finau on the weekend. If golf tournaments were only 2 rounds, Tony Finau would win everything seemingly, but it's something going on mentally. I mean, and I hate to try to get into these guys' minds, but really the stats bear this out. His scoring averages on the first 3 rounds are phenomenal. He's in the top 20 or top 25 every single rounds, and then he drops outside the top 150 in Sunday final round scoring average. Like, there's something more going on than just his game, because we know Tony Finau has such a strong game. On Sunday, he was just stuck in neutral all day. He a couple of birdies early. The way he did that was by rolling in long putts. That's not usually sustainable over the course of a round, and you cannot go on a streak of 8 pars in a row at TPC Twin Cities and expect to find yourself in contention. So it's the same story for Tony Finau over and over again. Unfortunately, I think that he realizes it now. First week with a new caddy on the bag this week, and I assume if he doesn't break through and get a win at some point, the thing we've all been talking about, more changes could be coming, whether it's clubs or a sports psychologist. Who knows? There could be more things in the works for Tony Finau.
Yeah, like Rick mentioned, Finau 171st on the PGA Tour coming into this week in round 4 scoring average. That's not good, especially when his other 3 round scoring averages are in the top 30 or top 25 on the PGA Tour. There's certainly something to be said for that, something going on there. I wasn't that disappointed by Sunday. I mean, he went out and shot 68. It's not like he was, I thought Werenski's round was disappointing at 70. You get into the 68, 67 range, and it's like, I don't know, you kind of just got beat by Michael Thompson, right? But I think the thing that I take away from this event, and Rick and I have been talking about this kind of off and on throughout the week, it seems like Tony Finau doesn't have the greatest plan off the tee. He finished 29th in strokes gained off the tee in this tournament, which is that's not where Tony Finau should be finishing. He should be in the top 10, the top 5. I mean, he is maybe the best driver of the golf ball in the world, at least in the top 4 or 5, and he's 29th in kind of a bad field event off the tee. That can't happen. And so he has to figure out whether that is pulling a Bryson DeChambeau and going for every green, whether that is throttling back and hitting every fairway. There has to be a better plan off the tee for Tony Finau, because that is not an area where he should be outside the top 20 or 25 in any event much less a 3M Open, again, where there's not as many great drivers as there would be in a better field.
Yeah, Kyle, to add to your point there, his 3-under on Sunday was his best in the fourth round since the restart. He has been +2 in the fourth round since the restart, -24 in the first round since the restart. So he started to, what the trend here is that he's fading from rounds 1 through 4, but it's a great point out of you. But he did have a 300 on Sunday. Again, his best in the fourth round since the restart, but not good enough. All right, let's look ahead to next week's WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational in Memphis. Top 8 golfers in the world in the field, including world number 6 Brooks Koepka, who missed the cut at this week's 3M Open. He's the defending champ at this tournament, the 2-time defending champ of the PGA Championship the following week. Kyle, what are you most looking forward to next week at the St. Jude Invitational?
Yeah, Brooks Koepka, maybe not even the best golfer in his own family right now. Chase Koepka, his brother, shot a 63 on Sunday at TPC Twin Cities. So kind of a tough look for Brooks. I think it's probably DJ. You know, DJ and Brooks, those are the guys that I have a lot of questions about going into the PGA Championship. Theoretically, Brooks Koepka should be the favorite at the PGA Championship. He's won 2 in a row, going for a 3rd in a row. He's kind of dominated PGAs over the last several years, but he's not going to be because he's not playing very good golf. So my question is, can DJ, can Brooks get some kind of momentum? It's a no-cut event, so they'll play 4 rounds. At least that's the intention going in. So can they find something? Can they get a little bit of momentum going to Harding Park the following week? And then same thing a little bit on a lesser level for Rory McIlroy. He hasn't struggled like those 2 guys, but he hasn't been playing at a Rory-like level. I do wonder if Rahm taking over number 1 will be, I don't know. I don't know if that's meaningful at all to him, but I wonder if we get a really good Rory performance from him. He played great at this event last year when he lost to Koepka on Sunday. So I'm intrigued kind of by how he plays as well.
Yeah, this tournament next week is going to be the 1-year anniversary from Brooks Koepka's last win. That's crazy. This guy should be winning multiple times a year, but he's just not. There's a lot of question marks in the field, but the big story is, you know, we've kind of been spoiled with how deep the fields have been since the tour has come back, and we're going to get 45 of the top 50 players in the world for the WGC next week. Like, that's rare. We should not be taking these for granted anymore when you get an absolute stacked field from players all over the globe, and now it is going to start this sprint, right? We've got WGC. I love the idea of guys who need to get reps in, getting a guaranteed 4 rounds out of next week's event, leading into the PGA Championship. And then we're going to go straight essentially into the run towards the Tour Championship and then Major C. Like, this is it. This is the starting line. Everybody's in the blocks. They're ready to go Usain Bolt. And if somebody goes nuclear for, the next 15 months or so, they might rack up multiple major championships. And this is just the starting line, Hakeem.
Can't wait. We are looking forward to it. Indeed, it has been a lot of fun having golf back in our lives, and what a win it was for Michael Thompson, winning his first event in 7 years. Kyle Porter and Rick Gaiman here on CBS Sports HQ joining us on the Final Putt. Great job, men, all week long. More from them on the First Cut podcast with Greg Ducharme and Mark Immelman. Tournament previews, DFS picks, analysis, and instant reaction pods after every event. The First Cut podcast. Download and subscribe today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.